All right, so this is for my Algebra 2 CPB class. This is your homework. All right, so we had the third column on the 5.3 Practice A worksheet. All right, so number 3, we had to factor this out. So there's no leading coefficient. So we do 2 sets of parentheses. All right, in the front of each parenthesis, we're going to put the x. The last sign is a plus sign, so that means our signs are the same, and they're both going to be negative signs. And then we want to do our factors of 3, that when we add them up, we get a 4. And the factors of 3 are 1 and 3. And they add up to 4, so we put a 1 here and a 3 there, and that's your answer for number 3. All right, the next one we had was number 9. Again, we are just factoring it out. So again, no leading coefficient. So I do my 2 sets of parentheses. And I have an x squared up front, so I need an x in the front of each one. This time my last sign is a minus sign. All right, so when the last sign is a minus sign, that means our signs are going to be different. So one is plus and one is minus. All right, now we want our factors of 18 that when we subtract them, because the last sign's a minus, we're going to subtract now, that we get a 3. And the factors of 18, we have a choice of 1 times 18, 2 times 9, or 3 times 6. And 3 times 6, when we subtract 6 minus 3, we get 3, which is the middle term, so that's the set we want. Now, we want to put the bigger number, which is the 6, in with whatever sign the middle term has. And in this case, the middle term has a plus sign, so the bigger number, the 6, goes in the bracket or the parentheses with the plus. And then the 3 goes in the other place. And that's your answer for number 9. All right, number 15. All right, again, we're factoring it out. We do our 2 sets of parentheses. We put our x in the front of each one. The last sign's a plus sign, so that means our signs are the same, and they are both plus signs because the middle sign's a plus. So it's a plus and a plus. Now we want our factors of 36, then when we add them together, we get a 15. All right, our choices are 1 times 36, 2 times 13, 3 times 12, no, not that one, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, or 6 times 6. All right, and the factors that when we add them, we get a 15, would be the 3 and the 12. So the parentheses, the signs are both the same in the parentheses, so I'm just going to, it doesn't matter which way you put them in, so we have x plus 3 and x plus 12. All right, so that's the first ones where we were just factoring. Now we'll go to the second set, all right, and this time we're going to solve. But in order to solve, we're going to factor them first. So again, we want to make sure we have an equals 0 on this side. Once we have the equals 0, we're going to do our 2 sets of parentheses. Equal to 0. We put our x's in the front. The last sign's a plus sign. So again, our signs are going to be the same, and this time they're going to both be minus because we got a minus sign in the middle. Now we want our factors of 16, that when we add them up, we get a 10. And the factors of 16, that when you add them, you get a 10, are 8 and 2. All right, so we have it factored out. Now we take each and we solve it. So we take our x minus 8. We set that equal to 0. We add 8 to both sides. And we get x equals 8. Then we take our x minus 2 equal to 0. We add 2. And we get x equals 2. So there are our answers for number 21. X equals 8 and x equals 2. All right, number 27. Again, no leading coefficient. So it should be easy for us to factor, right? We go 2 sets of parentheses. It's already equal to 0 too, so we don't have to move anything. We put our x's in the front. Last sign's a plus sign, so again, our signs are the same, and they're both going to be negative because the middle sign's negative. Now we want our factors of 14, that when we add them up, we get a 9. And the factors of 14 that add up to 9 are 7 and 2. And since the signs are the same, it doesn't matter where you put them. All right? So then we take our x minus 7. We set that equal to 0. We add 7 to both sides, and we get x equals 7. And then we take our x minus 2. We set that equal to 0. We add 2 to both sides, and we get x equals 2. All right, so that's our answer for number 27, x equals 7 and x equals 2. That brings us next to 33. And on 33, again, we already have our equal 0, so we are going to do our 2 sets of parentheses, equal to 0. Our x's go in the front of each one. And again, the last sign's a plus sign, so that means our signs are the same. And this time, the middle sign is a negative, so that means they're both going to be negative. Then we want our factors of 6, that when we add them up, we get a 7. Well, 1 times 6 gives us 6, and 1 plus 6 gives us 7. So 1 and 6 are the factors that add up to 7. And then we set them equal to 0, so take x minus 1, set that equal to 0, add 1, and we get x equals 1. And then take x minus 6 equal to 0, we add 6, and we get x equals 6. So there's our answer for number 33. All right, and then our last problem. Our last problem looks a little weird. We're missing something. All right, we're missing our c term. So since it's missing, what we can do is we can fill it in with a 0. So we got x squared plus 3x plus 0 equals 0. All right, so now it's all set up. So now we do our 2 sets of parentheses, equal to 0. Our x's are going to go in the front. Now we want our factors of 0. That's 2 things we multiply together. Then when we add them up, we get a 3. So 0 times 3, or 3 times 0, would give us 0. And 3 plus 0 would give us 3. So our signs are both going to be the same. They're both going to be plus. And we're going to put a 3 in one and a 0 in the other. And then we're going to set x plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3 from both sides, and we get x equals negative 3. And then set x plus 0 equal to 0. And then x plus 0 is just x, so we get x equals 0, and we get x equals negative 3. So those are our 2 answers for our homework.